Lin Feng flew back to the middle of the Kiliacosm sovereigns. All the Kiliacosm sovereigns wore very solemn expressions. Clearly, seeing so many void lifeforms at once was also very shocking to them. There are at least 100 void lifeforms. 100 void lifeforms. How can there be so many of them? To be able to move through the void and travel a long distance, they must all have strength at least above 7 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns. This might be the strongest lineup we've ever faced. Not only are there many void lifeforms, there are even 2 void lifeforms comparable to medium Kiliacosm sovereigns. If we can't deal with these void lifeforms, the medium Kiliacosm will be in trouble. All the 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns had solemn expressions. The relaxed atmosphere from before was gone. In the past, they had not encountered many void lifeforms. Even if there were powerful void lifeforms, there were 3 medium Kiliacosm sovereigns standing guard. They were not afraid at all. But now, the appearance of so many void lifeforms at once made them feel threatened. The appearance of almost 100 void lifeforms gave the many Kiliacosm sovereigns immense pressure. However, the many Kiliacosm sovereigns still emitted powerful auras to intimidate these void lifeforms. Soon those void lifeforms approached. Led by the 2 huge void lifeforms in front, all the void lifeforms stopped and confronted the Kiliacosm sovereigns. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, an unfamiliar mental fluctuation came from a void lifeform comparable to a medium Kiliacosm sovereign. Right on the heels of that, a cold voice sounded in the minds of the many Kiliacosm sovereigns. I am the great ruler of the Basta realm. We are the Basta divine clan. I am leading the divine clan to search for the legendary origin gate. Who are you? Why are you blocking our way? At this moment, the voice of this Basta realm ruler echoed in the minds of the many Kiliacosm sovereigns. They seemed to call themselves the Basta divine clan, and he was once the ruler of the Basta realm. However, no one could tell if it was real. After all, the void was simply too huge and vast. Even the 3 medium Kiliacosm sovereigns could not tell if it was real. At this moment, the Kiliacosm sovereign mythical tree also said slowly, Great ruler of the Basta realm. The origin gate you are looking for is not here. In reality, you are not the only one searching for origin gate. We controllers are also searching for origin gate. The reason we are blocking your path here is that the controller's medium Kiliacosm is ahead. The aura of your Basta divine clan is too strong and will clash with our medium Kiliacosm. Please take a detour. Kiliacosm sovereign mythical tree knew very well that these void lifeforms could not be trusted. No matter what reason they gave, they could not be allowed to approach the medium Kiliacosm. As long as they did not approach the medium Kiliacosm, everything was fine. However, as if he had been insulted, the Basta realm ruler's tone immediately became stern. Take a detour? There is no such thing as taking a detour where our Basta divine clan passes. Finding the origin gate is our goal. Anyone who obstructs us from achieving this goal is an enemy of our Basta divine clan. Ha! At this moment, the 3 medium Kiliacosm sovereigns raised their brows. Seeing how unyielding the attitude of the Basta divine clan was, they already knew the other party's goal. The goal of these void lifeforms was not the origin gate at all. If they really wanted to find the origin gate, how could they mind taking a detour? Moreover, once the origin gate appeared, how could they not sense it? The 3 medium Kiliacosm sovereigns would probably rush over immediately. Legends of the origin gate had always circulated in the void, but in reality, no one had ever seen it. Hence, they had always been just legends. However, the Basta divine clan used this as an excuse. Their true goal was the medium Kiliacosm. Cut the crap. There's no need for you to find excuses. How can we not know the conduct of void lifeforms? Your goal is the medium Kiliacosm, right? If you want to fight, fight. If you want to approach the medium Kiliacosm, you'll have to do it over all our dead bodies. At this moment, Kiliacosm sovereign Xianxia yelled. His mental power exploded in the minds of all the void lifeforms like thunder. Immediately, these void lifeforms became enraged. Indeed, their target was the medium Kiliacosm. The Basta divine clan made it sound nice. They were indeed once the ruling lifeforms of the Basta realm. Unfortunately, the Basta realm had collapsed because of them, and they wandered around the void, trying to find another powerful world. Although they had found some small kiliocosms, the small kiliocosms were not suitable for them to survive at all. Finally, they found the medium kiliocosm. In their ecstasy, they headed straight for the medium kiliocosm. Unfortunately, they were stopped in the void by the kiliocosm sovereigns. No one was an idiot. It was impossible for them to bluff their way through and approach the medium kiliocosm. In the end, strength was still the deciding factor. However, the ruler of the Basta realm was still a little hesitant. The Basta divine clan was very strong, but he also sensed that there were 3 entities comparable to him among the kiliocosm sovereigns. Those were the 3 great medium kiliocosm sovereigns. As for the Basta divine clan, there were only 2 entities comparable to the medium kiliocosm sovereigns. If they really fought, the Basta divine clan would probably be at a disadvantage. However, the Basta divine clan was somewhat unwilling to give up on the medium kiliocosm just like that. Great expert, we are experts in the same realm. You are qualified to talk to us as equals. That's right. Our goal is to find a place to rest. We don't have many members, only 100 or so. As long as you are willing to accept us into the medium kiliocosm, we are willing to share a lot of information in the void with you. Among it is information on Origin Gate, the Basta realm ruler said in a low voice. He proposed a compromise. Clearly, this was a concession. The deterrence of the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns was still effective. Even the Basta divine clan did not dare to start a war lightly. Kiliocosm sovereign Heart Illusion sneered. What are these void lifeforms thinking? Exchanging some vague information for a medium kiliocosm? Humph, we won't do something as foolish as leaving ourselves open for attack. The other kiliocosm sovereigns also nodded one after another. Leading wolves into their home was true folly. Although there seemed to be only 100 lifeforms in the Basta divine clan, who knew how they reproduced? What if they could give rise to countless descendants in a short period of time? Or perhaps, if they gained a foothold in the medium kiliocosm and contended against the kiliocosm sovereigns, it would mean endless trouble. Thinking of the ancestral devils back then, it was precisely because the kiliocosm sovereigns had defeated the ancestral devils that they could dominate the medium kiliocosm. They did not want to make the same mistake as the ancestral devils back then. Either leave or we will war. Your choice. Without hesitation, Kiliocosm Sovereign Mythical Tree said firmly at once. There was no need to be polite to void lifeforms. They either did not come into contact with them, or fought upon contact. As for friendship, that was completely impossible. The atmosphere turned solemn. These Basta divine clan members were all filled with righteous indignation, and appeared very furious. They dominated the void. When had they ever been afraid of other void lifeforms? However, these controllers that they encountered now did not give them any face at all. They could either fight or retreat. The choice lay with the Basta divine clan. Controllers, let me see what confidence you have in guarding the medium kiliocosm. The Basta divine clan attacked. As soon as the Basta realm ruler gave the order, all the Basta divine clan members roared and charged towards the kiliocosm sovereigns. The 2 Basta realm rulers charged straight towards the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns. Clearly, they wanted to hold off the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns. Although there were only 2 experts comparable to the medium kiliocosm sovereigns in the Basta divine clan, they seemed fearless. They were all filled with battle intent, as if they were natural warriors. Boom! The 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns also attacked with unparalleled ferocity. As soon as they attacked, they seemed ready to slay the Basta realm rulers. They knew very well that high-end combatants often had a decisive effect. If the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns could kill the 2 Basta realm rulers, these void lifeforms would be nothing. They could be annihilated at any time. Hence, the key lay in these 2 rulers of the Basta realm. How terrifying was battling medium kiliocosm sovereigns. This was also the first time Lin Feng had seen the medium kiliocosm sovereigns fight. They simply used the medium kiliocosm to smash their opponent. It was very simple, but there was something extraordinary about it. How terrifying was the medium kiliacosm of the medium kiliacosm sovereign. With a single smash, all the kiliacosm sovereigns present would probably be annihilated. It was just that domineering and terrifying. That kind of power could no longer be described as 10 or 100 times, but countless times. Quantitative changes had evoked a qualitative change in its strength. The medium kiliacosm sovereigns were very strong, but the Basta realm rulers were even stronger. In a one-on-one battle, even the medium kiliacosm sovereign was not a match. The three medium kiliacosm sovereigns could only contend with two Basta realm rulers, and were evenly matched. No wonder it was said that void lifeforms were very terrifying in a one-on-one battle. As for kiliacosm sovereigns, they were only very difficult to deal with and very difficult to kill. However, in such a battle, the outcome could not be determined in a short period of time. On the other hand, the battle between the ordinary Basta divine clan members and the 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereigns might play a decisive role. However, as soon as all the void lifeforms came into contact with the kiliacosm sovereigns, Lin Feng knew that the kiliacosm sovereigns were really in danger this time. There were hundreds of void lifeforms, which were even stronger than an 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereign in a one-on-one battle. Apart from Lin Feng and a few other 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereigns who could suppress their opponents, the rest were actually all suppressed instead. They could only rely on the characteristics of the small kiliacosm and the small kiliacosm origin to remain undefeated. However, in terms of numbers, those Basta divine clan had an absolute advantage. Almost 3 Basta divine clan members surrounded and attacked every 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereign. As such, the kiliacosm sovereigns were in imminent danger. However, they would definitely be fine in the short term. Relying on the small kiliacosm origin, the kiliacosm sovereigns were almost impossible to kill. Otherwise, it would be hard for them to occupy a place among the many races in the void. The difficulty of dealing with kiliacosm sovereigns was also unparalleled. Still, if this dragged on for too long, things might change. As time went on, any accident might happen. Moreover, how could they repel these void lifeforms just by staying undefeated, without making this Basta divine clan feel the pain? Lin Feng was also attacked by the 3 void lifeforms. These void lifeforms had very strong defense, terrifying life force, and boundless strength. Although they did not have any other methods, just by relying on these, they could already occupy a place in the void. However, to Lin Feng, 3 void lifeforms were still not quite enough. Even if he relied on small kiliacosm power alone, he was not afraid of these 3 void lifeforms. Still, it was unrealistic for him to rely on his current strength to kill 3 void lifeforms. That was, unless he used the principle of spacetime. But even with the river of spacetime, if Lin Feng wanted to kill 3 void lifeforms at once, they would still be entities comparable to 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereigns. Moreover, in terms of strength, they were even stronger. It would still pose a huge burden on Lin Feng. Although it was not enough to cause Lin Feng's small kiliacosm to collapse, some accidents were inevitable. In such a chaotic battle, he absolutely could not take any chances. If the other Basta divine clan took advantage of the situation when he was at his weakest, it would be troublesome. I can't trap 3 void lifeforms in the river of spacetime at once. However, I still have the spacetime prison. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He thought of the spacetime prison. This spacetime prison was very likely a legendary treasure of the Origin realm. Although it was badly damaged, Lin Feng had nurtured it in the river of spacetime for so long. Lin Feng had always had high hopes for it. However, Lin Feng was not absolutely confident if the spacetime prison could trap these 3 void lifeforms. Still, he could give it a try. Spacetime prison. As Lin Feng waved his hand, the spacetime prison immediately leaped out of the river of spacetime. It grew without warning, becoming infinitely huge, like a huge beehive. That's the Beehive Forbidden Zone? That's right. I've entered the Beehive Forbidden Zone before. I'm very familiar with it. That's the Beehive Forbidden Zone. Didn't the Beehive Forbidden Zone disappear? How did it appear in the hands of the Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign? Could the Beehive Forbidden Zone be a treasure that the Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign refined? It's probably close to the truth. The Beehive Forbidden Zone is actually a top-notch treasure. I've entered it a few times before, but I never actually discovered it. Many 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns were dumbfounded. Most of the 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns had actually entered the Beehive Forbidden Zone before, not because of the Myriad Origin Conference, but because the Beehive Forbidden Zone was the top of the 10 forbidden zones in the medium Kiliacosm. How could they not venture in? Of course, although it was said that the Beehive Forbidden Zone was dangerous to even 7 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns, in reality, 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns could basically break free. Despite this, they also knew very well that that was when no one was controlling the Beehive Forbidden Zone. Now that someone was in control, how could the situation be the same? Boom! As Lin Feng used the spacetime prison, the beehive-like spacetime prison immediately landed hard on the heads of the 3 void lifeforms. The 3 void lifeforms roared one after another, as if they all sensed a huge threat. Countless tentacles became incomparably thick and filled with power as they wrapped violently towards the spacetime prison, hoping to crush it directly with the power of the tentacles. Unfortunately, the spacetime prison was incredibly durable. In fact, ignoring the tentacles of the Basta Divine clan, it continued to descend without stopping, instantly sweeping the 3 void lifeforms into the spacetime prison. They've been suppressed. Seeing the 3 void lifeforms being swept directly into the spacetime prison, Lin Feng was slightly stunned. Was it that easy? When the 3 void lifeforms entered the spacetime prison, they dissipated completely without even a ripple. What's going on? The Beehive Forbidden Zone suppressed 3 void lifeforms? How terrifying! Such a top-notch treasure was left in the medium Kiliacosm for so long, yet no one discovered it. In the end, it was obtained by the Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign. But that's just as well. With this supreme treasure in hand, it will be much easier for the Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign to deal with these void lifeforms. At least we might be able to win this great battle. The other 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns took Lin Feng's spacetime prison very seriously. They also wanted to see if this supreme treasure could suppress these void lifeforms. However, they did not expect the spacetime prisons to actually suppress the void lifeforms so easily. In reality, even Lin Feng himself did not know how strong the spacetime prison was. Hence, he divided a portion of his consciousness to check on the 3 void lifeforms in the spacetime prison. He realized that the 3 void lifeforms were directly imprisoned in 3 special spaces in the spacetime prison. There were even terrifying monsters in those special spaces. These monsters posed a huge threat to even 7 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns. Many 7 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns had died in these special spaces in the past. Although void lifeforms were comparable to 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereigns, the key was that those monsters were almost undying and indestructible. They had the undying characteristic and could never be killed. Moreover, with a thought from Lin Feng, he could even move the monsters in a few spaces into a space to attack the void lifeform together. As time passed, the void lifeform could not withstand it anymore, and was surrounded and killed. Dead. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. The void lifeform known as the Basta Divine clan was very difficult to kill, even for Lin Feng. However, after being suppressed by the spacetime prison, it had already fallen in almost a very short period of time. However, Lin Feng knew that this was not the crucial thing. The most important thing was that after he controlled the spacetime prison, the entire spacetime prison was filled with spacetime power. It was almost impossible to break free from those special spaces. The most terrifying aspect of the spacetime prison was its suppressive power. It imprisoned all extremely powerful entities to begin with. Even if it was damaged now, it was not something that a mere 8 Cataclysm entity could break free from. Moreover, suppressing 3 Basta Divine clan members posed almost no burden to Lin Feng. It was no burden to the spacetime prison at all. Ha ha ha. So what if they are void lifeforms? Lin Feng could not help but feel high-spirited. He had long known that the spacetime prison was extraordinary. All these years, for almost half an epoch, he had been nurturing the spacetime prison in the river of spacetime. But now, the spacetime prison had finally displayed its sharp edge, suppressing 3 Basta Divine clan members in one fell swoop. However, this was far from the end. The space-time power on Lin Feng's body flashed, and he arrived above the heads of the other 3 void lifeforms. He reached out and waved his hand, and the space-time prison descended directly. The 3 void lifeforms were already cautious enough. They even tried to escape immediately. Unfortunately, once the space-time prison descended, there would be a confinement force. With the confinement force over space-time, even void lifeforms could forget about escaping. Soon, another 3 void lifeforms were swept into the space-time prison by Lin Feng. The 3 void lifeforms that were originally swept into the space-time prison had already fallen under Lin Feng's arrangements. 3, 6, 9, 12. The void lifeforms tried everything they could, but they could not stop Lin Feng or the space-time prison. They had no way to resist the space-time prison at all. To these void lifeforms, the space-time prison was practically an uncounterable force. Panic began to spread among the void lifeforms. The Basta Divine clan were all valiant and battle-ready warriors. Their battle intent was high and they were unafraid of everything. However, facing a treasure like the space-time prison that they could not contend with at all, and that specialized in countering them, they would also feel fear. Moreover, the losses of the Basta Divine clan were still growing. As Lin Feng's control over the space-time prison became greater and greater, and he became more proficient at manipulating it, the speed at which Lin Feng suppressed the Basta Divine clan also increased by a lot. From 15, 18, 21, 24. In the blink of an eye, a third of the Basta Divine clan had been lost. More than 30 powerful Basta Divine clan members were suppressed by Lin Feng's space-time prison. The key was that after suppressing so many Basta Divine clan members, Lin Feng's space-time prison did not change at all. It was like a bottomless pit. Some of the Basta Divine clan members began to feel fear. They even felt that if the battle continued, Lin Feng would probably use the space-time prison to capture them all in one fell swoop. Despicable Kiliakosm sovereigns. Die. Finally, the 2 Basta realm rulers could no longer sit still. The Basta Divine clan suffered heavy losses, and they were held back by the 3 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns. If they still did not attack at this moment, they would really have no chance. Hence, risking being severely injured by the combined forces of the 3 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns, the Basta realm ruler tried to disengage from the battlefield. Then, a huge tentacle swept over and struck towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng could already sense that terrifying might from afar. If he was really struck, his small Kiliakosm definitely would not be able to withstand it. He would probably be reduced to dust with a single strike. Swoosh. However, Lin Feng had comprehended the principle of spacetime. The spacetime power on his body flashed, and he disappeared without a trace in an instant, causing the Basta realm ruler's attack to miss. What? That Basta realm ruler was shocked. Lin Feng had actually dodged it with ease. His attacks were useless. Your opponent is me. Kiliakosm Xuanxiang also flew over and immediately engaged the Basta realm ruler. Now, the situation had completely reversed. The 3 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns saw that Lin Feng's results were outstanding, and he had almost complete control over the battle. Hence, they held back the 3 rulers of the Basta realm with all their might. They created a better opportunity for Lin Feng. Lin Feng did not disappoint. Relying on the space-time prison, he suppressed and killed those void lifeforms one by one. There were more than 60 of them. Hence, more than half of the void lifeforms were lost. Unable to hold it in anymore, they collapsed completely and began to flee for their lives. Lin Feng did not pursue them. He knew that these Basta Divine clan members were actually nothing. No matter how many of them there were, it was useless. The key was that even Lin Feng had to be careful when dealing with those 2 Basta realm rulers, powerful void lifeforms comparable to the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns. After all, they could easily suppress medium Kiliakosm sovereigns in a one-on-one battle. Only the fact that there was one more of the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns than the Basta realm rulers allowed the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns to barely contend with them and not be at a disadvantage. Otherwise, it was really hard to say who would win this battle. Moreover, even if the Basta Divine clan was completely annihilated, as long as the 2 Basta realm rulers were still around, the Basta Divine clan had not failed. Controllers, we will return. You can't protect the medium chiliocosm. In the end, the two Basta realm rulers finally gave up and left the battlefield. Soon, they led the remaining Basta divine clan far away from the medium chiliocosm. Retreat. A smile also appeared on the chiliocosm sovereign mythical tree's face. These void life forms also gave him a lot of pressure. In particular, the two Basta realm rulers were formidable enemies to chiliocosm sovereign mythical tree. Even if the three medium chiliocosm sovereigns joined forces, they did not seem to be able to gain much of an advantage. But now, these void life forms had finally retreated. Although it was only temporary, they had ultimately survived a crisis. Everyone knew who the great contributor this time was. Chaos Chiliocosm Sovereign. It's all thanks to your space-time prison that we repelled those void life forms. Otherwise, our medium chiliocosm would probably be in big trouble this time. Chiliocosm's sovereign mythical tree was not stingy with his praises. Lin Feng's contribution this time was indeed huge. Although void lifeforms had also approached the medium chiliocosm and even coveted it in the past, it had never been as dangerous as this time. If Lin Feng's space-time prison had not displayed its prowess, even the 8 cataclysm chiliocosm sovereigns present would probably not be able to stop those void lifeforms. At that time, apart from the 3 medium chiliocosm sovereigns, all the other chiliocosm sovereigns, and even the medium chiliocosm would probably encounter great trouble. Your Majesties, they've probably only retreated temporarily this time, right? That's right. They're only retreating for the time being. What if they make a comeback in the future? There's no need to worry. Void lifeforms are not stupid. Until they find a way to counter your space-time prison, or until they have the strength to crush us, they won't walk to their deaths again. Lin Feng nodded, feeling slightly relieved. All right, chiliocosm sovereigns, you can return to the medium chiliocosm now. If there's a need, I'll naturally inform you. Hence, many 8 cataclysm chiliocosm sovereigns left one after another. However, Lin Feng did not leave. He still had some questions to ask the 3 medium chiliocosm sovereigns. Chaos chiliocosm sovereign, do you have any other questions? Lin Feng nodded and said, Chiliocosm sovereigns, are there really many void life forms like the Basta divine clan? If there are many, how can the medium chiliocosm maintain overall stability after so many years? In reality, the vast void is just too huge and vast. Although there are indeed many void life forms, more than we can imagine, there are very few void life forms that can truly arrive in the medium chiliocosm or discover it. After all, the medium chiliocosm is only an inconspicuous grain of sand in the vast void. Chiliocosm sovereign mythical tree said with emotion. The other chiliocosm sovereigns all felt that the 3 medium chiliocosm sovereigns were invincible and peak experts. However, in reality, the 3 medium chiliocosm sovereigns knew very well that compared to the vast void and countless void lifeforms, the 3 of them were really nothing. Although they could more or less be considered to have cultivated to the peak, they were only a small group among the peak. Above the peak were even more terrifying entities that could be considered the hegemons of the void. Your Majesties, you have once ventured deep into the void. You more or less have some understanding of the strength of the void lifeforms comparable to medium chiliocosm sovereign in the void, right? How are they tiered, or are they divided into any realms? Lin Feng asked curiously. Divided into any realms? Actually, everyone is in the same realm. The medium chiliocosm sovereign is about the apex. However, while we are both in the medium chiliocosm sovereign realm, there is a difference in strength. Moreover, there are indeed some titles based on a division of strength. Still, the vast void is too extensive. The evaluation of the strength of void lifeforms might not be related to titles. After all, one's strength might increase greatly upon obtaining a top-notch supreme treasure. Basically, void lifeforms that have also entered the level of the medium chiliocosm sovereigns are all called void walkers. It means that they can roam the void freely, and basically fall naturally. They are very rare, and have relatively strong self-defense abilities. The classification of voidwalkers is very simple. They are divided into ordinary voidwalkers, advanced voidwalkers, peak voidwalkers, ultimate voidwalkers, and void overlords. Ordinary voidwalkers have basically just undergone metamorphosis. Controllers like us need the small kiliocosm in our body to metamorphose into a medium kiliocosm, while other void lifeforms undergo certain metamorphoses. In short, if one wants to become a voidwalker, they have to undergo metamorphosis. Once they undergo metamorphosis, they will basically become an ordinary voidwalker. Then, with a little accumulation, they can successfully become an advanced voidwalker. If they are lucky enough to obtain some treasures, or are void lifeforms with extraordinary aptitude and certain special abilities, they can also become a peak voidwalker. Therefore, once one undergoes metamorphosis and becomes a voidwalker, as long as they do not fall, they basically have a high chance of becoming a peak voidwalker. However, it's different for an ultimate voidwalker. They have to encounter all kinds of opportunities and possess all kinds of very terrifying abilities. Only when they really have no more room to advance can they have a chance of becoming an ultimate voidwalker. Such entities are rather rare even in the vast void. They can only be chanced upon by luck. As for void overlords, they are the true overlords of the void. They are invincible. It's no longer as simple to achieve as encountering opportunities. Perhaps only a few of them can be born in the entire void. It's rumored that only those voidwalkers have a chance to obtain the origin gate and enter the origin realm. Lin Feng listened carefully to the explanation of Kiliocosm's sovereign mythical tree. He was also rather excited. From the description of Kiliocosm's sovereign mythical tree, it was as if a new door had been opened for Lin Feng. Originally, he thought that after becoming the medium Kiliocosm sovereign, one would enter the great Kiliocosm or the origin realm. He did not expect that the realm of the medium Kiliocosm sovereign actually contained such a vast world and such an exciting journey. Voidwalker. It turned out that the medium Kiliocosm sovereign was also known as the Voidwalker. This was because almost all experts wanted to find the origin realm after their metamorphosis, and all of them wanted to enter it. Hence, they could only search in the vast void. Could not be more appropriate to call them voidwalkers. Even the three great medium Kiliocosm sovereigns had actually ventured deep into the void before. However, every time they would leave at least one medium Kiliocosm sovereign to guard the medium Kiliocosm. After all, the medium Kiliocosm was their foundation. The origin gate. Does the origin gate truly exist in the void? Lin Feng muttered softly. I don't know. There have always been legends of the origin gate, the void, but it has never appeared, or it appeared without our knowledge. In fact, no one can be certain about the existence of the origin realm or the great Kiliocosm. After so many years, even we were doubtful. It wasn't until the Chaos Kiliocosm sovereign analyzed the contents of the steel in the Beehive Forbidden Zone that we firmly believed in the existence of the origin realm. The gaze of Kiliocosm's sovereign mythical tree was indeed very determined. In the past, they had been uncertain and doubtful for countless epochs. But now, they were already very certain that the origin realm definitely existed. There was only one question now. How could they find the origin realm? No one knows where the origin realm is. Even the hegemons of the void are searching tirelessly. Hence, it's too far away from us. There's no need to pay too much attention to it. Kiliocosm's sovereign mythical tree gave his advice. In reality, there was really no need to say this to Lin Feng. What was Lin Feng's current state? He was only an 8 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereign, and had yet to become a medium Kiliocosm sovereign. In other words, he still had the greatest hurdle before he could become a voidwalker. It was still uncertain if he could even cross it. What was the use of knowing the situation in the void? However, Kiliocosm's sovereign mythical tree still explained it to Lin Feng. This was enough to prove that he valued Lin Feng far more than the other 8 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereigns. By the way, what tier of voidwalkers are the 2 Bastion realm rulers just now? They're just advanced voidwalkers. Moreover, they've accumulated over time. They're only slightly stronger than ordinary voidwalkers, on par with us. The 3 of us are actually also advanced voidwalkers. It's just that the offensive power of us Kiliocosm sovereigns is a little weaker, but our life preservation abilities are extremely strong. Both can be considered to have their own characteristics. Lin Feng nodded. The 3 medium Kiliocosm sovereigns were actually not too strong. Otherwise, they would not have only been able to barely hold off the two Basta realm rulers despite having the advantage in numbers. Don't worry, after so many epochs, we've resolved the dangers in the void one by one. Unless a peak voidwalker comes, we can still protect the peace of the medium Kiliakosm. Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree made a solemn vow and was filled with confidence. However, in reality, the three Kiliakosm sovereigns were not that confident either. The reason they spared no effort to support the 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns was actually that they wanted to give rise to more medium Kiliakosm sovereigns. Then, it could alleviate their pressure, and they would not be powerless when encountering danger from the void. However, after so many epochs, only 3 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns had been born. If it were any other race in the void, it would actually already be quite impressive. The Basta divine clan was so powerful, and was a natural warrior race. However, only 2 voidwalkers were born. Chaos Kiliakosm sovereign, you don't have to worry so much now. You just have to strive to survive the 9th epical cataclysm and metamorphose into a medium Kiliakosm sovereign. Then, you will naturally have the ability to protect the medium Kiliakosm. Becoming the medium Kiliakosm sovereign is easier said than done. In reality, I don't even have any concept of the small Kiliakosm's metamorphosis now. Lin Feng glanced at the 3 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns and hesitated. Chaos Kiliakosm sovereign, you have the greatest chance of becoming the 4th medium Kiliakosm sovereign in the medium Kiliakosm. The 3 of us will naturally help you. We will impart our experiences from when we underwent metamorphosis to you. Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree's words made Lin Feng joyous and surprised. This was the greatest reward. Wasn't this what he had been thinking when he came to the battlefield this time? However, the 3 Kiliakosm sovereigns seemed to have seen through him. However, the 3 great medium Kiliakosm sovereigns did not mind. If Lin Feng could become the 4th medium Kiliakosm sovereign with Lin Feng's potential, he might even have a chance of becoming the first peak voidwalker in the medium Kiliakosm in the future. In fact, it was not impossible for him to even be comparable to an ultimate voidwalker. Be it in search of the origin realm or to protect the medium Kiliakosm, the 3 great medium Kiliakosm sovereigns all hoped that more and stronger medium Kiliakosm sovereigns could be born. Lin Feng was undoubtedly the 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereign with the strongest potential in the medium Kiliakosm now. In the void, the Basta divine clan traveled very far from the medium Kiliakosm, so far that even advanced voidwalkers could not sense them. The 2 Basta realm rulers were very displeased, and even rather furious. Their world had been shattered by the internal strife among the Basta divine clan, and a ruler had even fallen. Otherwise, why would they be afraid of 3 advanced voidwalkers who were not that powerful now? This made it impossible for them to occupy the medium Kiliakosm by force. In fact, in this battle with the Kiliakosm sovereigns, they had even suffered a huge loss. Out of the hundreds of Basta divine clan members, only 30 or so were left. It could be said that their vitality had been severely damaged, and they had suffered heavy losses. Among those controllers, there are 3 advanced voidwalkers. Although they are not very strong, they are very tricky to deal with and difficult to kill. Even so, we can still hold them off. However, the key is that controller who possesses a strange treasure. He is not a voidwalker, but he is almost invincible among those beneath the voidwalker. No one below the level of the voidwalker in our Basta divine clan is his match. If we make a comeback, the outcome will probably be the same. Hence, we have to think of a way. The 2 Basta divine clan rulers were also thinking of a solution. They did not want to wander anymore. How dangerous was wandering? Although they seemed very powerful, in reality, they had encountered many dangers while wandering. They had even encountered a peak voidwalker. Fortunately, that peak voidwalker did not hold it against them. Otherwise, all of them combined would not be a match for a peak voidwalker, and would have long been annihilated. Think of a way. What can we do now? How about we assassinate that controller with a special treasure? Once we kill him, we can completely control the situation. We can even contend with those 3 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns. Someone suggested such a method. No, it's not a question of whether we can assassinate him. If we really do, with those 3 advanced voidwalkers around, we'll never be able to control the situation. They can't do anything to us. Similarly, we can't do anything to them either. Once the 3 advanced Voidwalkers wreak destruction, it'll be enough to easily shatter the medium kiliacosm. Then, are we to perish together in the end, with neither able to obtain the medium kiliacosm? Wouldn't that mean we'll still have to wander? The ruler shook his head. This method was not feasible at all. It seemed like Lin Feng had become the key figure this time and repelled the Basta Divine clan. But in reality, the true key was that the 2 rulers of the Basta Divine clan could not deal with the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns. As long as these 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns were still around, the Basta Divine clan would not be able to occupy the medium kiliacosm with certainty. If we lure out one of the medium kiliacosm sovereigns and use the clan's holy relic, we might have a chance of killing them. As long as we kill one, we can kill the second one with the same method. Then, if we go all out regardless of the cost, how can we not be able to kill the remaining one? One of the rulers made a suggestion. Use the clan's holy relic, but the holy relic was left behind by the ancestor of our Basta Divine clan. It's the clan's holy relic. Even when encountering a peak Voidwalker, we can rely on it to escape. There are not many chances left to use the holy relic now. If we fail, the consequences will be unthinkable. We have to at least try. In that case, let the whole Basta Divine clan make the decision. This concerns the life and death of the Basta Divine clan. All the Divine clan members are qualified to make the decision. Hence, the 2 rulers explained the idea of using the holy relic of the Basta Divine clan to the remaining dozens of Basta Divine clan members. Without any resistance, almost all of them agreed to use the holy relic. Perhaps all the members of the Basta Divine clan were already tired of wandering. Now that they had finally found a medium kiliacosm, they wanted it at all costs? Lin Feng had already returned to the Chaos Dojo in the medium kiliacosm. He had gained a lot from his trip to the Void this time. He basically understood the situation in the medium kiliacosm and the Void. It turned out that the peak of cultivation was not as simple as the medium kiliacosm sovereign. Even if he became a medium kiliacosm sovereign, he could not rest easy. The Void was far more dangerous than the medium kiliacosm. At least in the medium kiliacosm, he could still live a stable and peaceful life. In the Void, absolute safety was not guaranteed even for the Voidwalkers. The reason why the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns valued Lin Feng so much was actually not just because Lin Feng had great potential. There was another very important reason, and that was that Lin Feng had mastered the principle of spacetime, and his foundation was incomparably solid. Once Lin Feng underwent metamorphosis and became the 4th medium kiliacosm sovereign, it was very likely that his strength would increase qualitatively. He might even become an advanced Voidwalker in one leap, and become even stronger than the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns. The division of Voidwalkers was not a division of realms, but a division of strength. In the Void, there were many powerful life forms. Once they underwent metamorphosis, they were actually comparable to advanced or even peak Void life forms. Everything depended on the accumulation before the metamorphosis. Otherwise, they would have to accumulate it step by step. Too much time was required to go from an ordinary Void life form to an advanced Void life form, and finally to a peak Void life form. For instance, the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns were originally just ordinary Void life forms. After becoming the medium kiliacosm sovereigns, it took them a long time to become advanced Void life forms. However, their potential was not great. Facing 2 Void life forms that were also advanced Void life forms, they already struggled a little. Without a peak Void life form, it would be very difficult to guard a medium kiliacosm. It was why the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns were so anxious over all these years. Lin Feng was an 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereign now. He had also been imparted the experience of metamorphosis by the 3 great medium kiliacosm sovereigns. Hence, it would not be an exaggeration to say that Lin Feng had the greatest chance of becoming the 4th medium kiliacosm sovereign in the medium kiliacosm. However, after learning about the process of a small kiliacosm's metamorphosis into a medium kiliacosm, Lin Feng was actually no longer in a hurry. He even had a vague feeling that with his current comprehension and accumulation, there was probably still a certain distance before he could undergo a complete metamorphosis. By the way, I wonder how those void life forms in the space-time prison are doing? Lin Feng did not kill 1 or 2 void life forms this time, but dozens. All of them were comparable to 8 cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns. Those who could travel a long distance in the vast void and follow 2 voidwalkers to the medium Kiliakosm were not simple. Ha! Lin Feng's consciousness entered the space-time prison. With a thought, he saw that only 9 of the dozens of void lifeforms from the Basta Divine clan were left. These 9 Basta Divine clan members were all struggling at death's door, tortured to the verge of death by the monsters in the space-time prison. Faced with the attrition of those undying monsters, even these powerful void lifeforms could do nothing. Dozens of void lifeforms had already been exhausted to death. Why do I feel that the monsters here seem to have become stronger? Moreover, there are some faint changes in the entire space-time prison. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He had a strange feeling. He had begun to control the space-time prison now. As long as there was any change in the space-time prison, he could actually sense it. Now he had sensed something special. The entire space-time prison seemed to have undergone some inexplicable changes. Of course, these changes were all beneficial. For example, Lin Feng could sense that the space-time prison had become stronger. A powerful space-time prison would definitely perform better when facing other enemies in the future. Back then, Lin Feng had spent a long time nurturing it with the river of space-time before the space-time prison was enhanced. But now, just killing some void lifeforms could actually make the space-time prison stronger. Lin Feng had some guesses, but he could not be certain. Hence, he appeared directly in the space. In the space, there was another void lifeform struggling hard. Gore! When Lin Feng appeared, the void lifeform roared angrily, appearing very furious. He had reason to be angry. It was precisely because Lin Feng had imprisoned him in the space-time prison that he had to endure such agony. As soon as Lin Feng appeared, he did not give this void lifeform a chance at all. He unleashed the small Kiliakosm and smashed down hard. Boom! The void lifeform, which was already at his limit, was smashed beyond recognition at once, reduced to dust, and fell completely. The moment the void lifeform fell, Lin Feng clearly saw a strange energy instantly enter the space and into the body of the beast. Immediately, the beast became stronger, and its aura became even more terrifying. Clearly, its strength had increased. A large portion of the special energy had fused into the entire space-time prison. Originally, despite Lin Feng's nurturing with the river of space-time, there was no effect on the fundamental damage in the space-time prison. However, now, he realized that after the void lifeform died, that special energy could actually repair the damage to the space-time prison. This was unheard of, and Lin Feng was overjoyed. Could this space-time prison do more than just suppressing them? Could it actually be able to convert the energy from the suppressed lifeforms into its own to enhance the space-time prison? Lin Feng killed the other void lifeforms in succession in the morning. After careful observation, he realized that it was indeed the case. The improvement was very, very small. Even if he killed 100,000 or 1,000,000 of such void lifeforms, it was impossible to repair the space-time prison. However, these were only void lifeforms comparable to 8 cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns. What if they were stronger and were true voidwalkers? A single voidwalker was probably comparable to countless Basta Divine clan members. One day, Lin Feng would definitely be able to repair the space-time prison. At that time, the space-time prison would be the top supreme treasure. What a pleasant surprise! Ever since Lin Feng cultivated, he rarely used treasures. However, once he used them, it would definitely be very terrifying. Clearly, this was the case for the space-time prison. If the space-time prison were complete, Lin Feng believed that even voidwalkers would probably be easily killed. However, he did not know how strong the complete space-time prison would be. After all, there were also differences in strength between voidwalkers. Next, Lin Feng went to do some experiments. He descended into the small Kiliakosm and killed some lifeforms in the small Kiliakosm. However, such lifeforms had little or no effect on the space-time prison. Only Kiliakosm sovereigns above the 7 cataclysm had a little impact. Lin Feng also gradually understood the essence of the space-time prison. However, Lin Feng could not guarantee if the space-time prison could suppress Voidwalkers now. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang, are you sure you want to go to that small Kiliakosm? Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree asked in a somber voice. That small Kiliakosm had been a little strange recently. There seemed to be some void lifeforms loitering nearby. It was impossible for Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang to ignore it, because that small Kiliakosm was one of his experimental bases. The medium Kiliakosm sovereigns would occasionally use small Kiliakosms as experiments. Their lives were simply too long and practically infinite. If they did not find something to do, they would probably be very bored. I'll be back soon. I'll be fine. But I'm still a little worried. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang, those Basta Divine clan members from before have not left either. You have to be careful. It might be a trap. A trap? That's indeed a possibility, but Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree, aren't we medium Kiliakosm Sovereign best at preserving our lives? Although we're not a match for those Basta realm rulers, even if the two of them attack me together, it's impossible for them to kill me. Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree also nodded. It was not that he was too arrogant, but that Kiliakosm sovereigns did have a unique advantage in preserving their lives. This was not their speculation. They had once ventured deep into the void and experienced it for themselves. Back then, Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree and the other 2 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns had actually ventured deep into the void. They had encountered all kinds of dangers, such as powerful opponents, and were even surrounded and attacked. There were a few times when their lives were on the line, but they still managed to escape. At the bottom of it all, the life-preserving ability of the Kiliakosm sovereign system was too strong. Hence, the Kiliakosm sovereigns were also one of the most tricky entities to deal with in the void. Perhaps their offensive power was not very strong, but it would be very difficult to kill a Kiliakosm sovereign. Unless one was really powerful enough to overwhelm and kill the Kiliakosm sovereign instantly, the other Voidwalkers would not be able to do anything if the Kiliakosm sovereign wanted to escape. All right, I'll be going first. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang stepped forward and disappeared. Swoosh! Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang appeared in the void. There's nothing wrong. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang glanced at the small Kiliakosm he was concerned about. Nothing had gone wrong. However, just as Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang was about to take a closer look, he suddenly felt his heart palpitate. Retreat! He retreated almost without any hesitation. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang was an esteemed medium Kiliakosm sovereign. If he had an odd feeling, it was definitely not groundless. Hence, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang retreated immediately. However, it was already a little too late. Ha ha ha! Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang. Since you're already here, you can forget about leaving. As a familiar voice sounded, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang saw the Basta realm rulers who were 2 advanced Voidwalkers appear in front and behind him, surrounding them. Moreover, a layer of white light which seemed to carry a faint confinement power restrained him nearby. Even if he wanted to escape, it would actually be very difficult. Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. I'm in trouble. Almost immediately, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang sent a message to Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. However, he also knew that it was still unknown if Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree could rush over so quickly. In particular, these 2 Voidwalkers must have made such thorough preparations to target him. You want to kill me? But do you know that while we're both Voidwalkers, the life-preserving ability of the Kiliakosm sovereign system far exceeds your imagination? Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang did not plan to fight with the 2 Basta realm rulers. The medium Kiliakosm appeared on his body, and there was abundant small Kiliakosm origin in his body. Although it was already a medium Kiliakosm, the small Kiliakosm origin was still quite useful for restoring damage to the medium Kiliakosm. How could medium Kiliakosm sovereigns not have small Kiliakosm origin? Moreover, the restorative ability of the medium Kiliakosm itself was terrifying to the extreme, far exceeding the imagination of ordinary Voidwalkers. Kill! Without any hesitation, The two Voidwalkers roared. The tentacles on their bodies attacked in a frenzy. One after another, they enveloped Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm fiercely. Crunch. They were all advanced Voidwalkers, but there was no doubt that in terms of strength and offensive power, the Basta Divine Clan was indeed far stronger than the Kiliakosm Sovereigns. The two Basta realm rulers struck Kiliakosm Sovereign Xianxia's medium Kiliakosm hard with their countless tentacles. Immediately, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm shook violently. Huge cracks even appeared at once, and they were dense like spiderwebs. However, that was all. In the blink of an eye, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm had recovered from its damage. He had not even used the small Kiliakosm origin. Just the restorative ability of the medium Kiliakosm could easily allow him to do this. The Basta realm ruler attacked in a frenzy, but Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang responded calmly. He did not even fight back. He just allowed the Basta realm ruler to attack without fear. This was different from the last time. The last time, the three medium Kiliakosm sovereigns wanted to stop the two Basta realm rulers. Hence, the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns could only take the initiative to attack. Naturally, they could only barely contend with the two Basta realm rulers. However, now that the two Basta realm rulers were constantly attacking while Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang was on the defense, there was no problem. Forget about the two Basta realm rulers besieging Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang. Even if there were 3 or 4 of them, the outcome would actually be the same. They could not do anything to him at all. Haha, rulers, you're nothing much. You want to kill me? You're still far from capable. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang sneered. The offensive power of the Kiliakosm Sovereign system might not be much, but its defense and life-preserving ability was uniquely strong. Very few Voidwalkers could compare to it. Is that so? You Kiliakosm Sovereigns are indeed extraordinary. Your strength is nothing much, but your defense is really powerful. It's too difficult to kill you. It might also take a long time, but we know that you've already informed the other Kiliakosm Sovereigns, so we have to end the battle quickly. Kiliakosm Sovereign, do you really think we don't have the power to deal with you? A sharp glint flashed across the Basta realm ruler's eyes. At this moment, he had completely made up his mind to use the holy relic of the divine clan. Holy relic, please kill the enemy. The two Basta realm rulers spoke in unison, as if they were using some strange secret technique. A white light flashed right on the heels of it. This white light emitted a shockingly piercing aura. Even Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's actually sensed a threat, and it was the threat of death. What? Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's eyes widened as he stared intently at the white light. His hair stood on end, and he sensed extreme danger. Buzz. A spear gradually appeared in the white light. It did not look big, and even looked a little dainty, but it emitted a holy light. This was the holy relic of the Basta divine clan, the Basta spear? A holy relic. The Basta spear transformed into a stream of light, and arrived in front of Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang practically in the blink of an eye. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang actually did not have any measures to resist. The only thing he could do might be to mobilize the medium Kiliakosm in a frenzy, hoping to strengthen the barriers of the medium Kiliakosm. However, it was so fragile before the Basta spear. Thump! The Basta spear easily pierced through the medium Kiliakosm. At the same time, countless beams of white lights seemed to erupt from the Basta spear in the medium Kiliakosm in an instant, and every one of them carried a terrifying penetrative power. No! Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang sensed a threat. In fact, at this moment, his medium Kiliakosm was torn apart. Even though there was a large amount of small Kiliakosm origin, it could not stop the Basta spear from tearing apart his medium Kiliakosm. The aura of death enveloped Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang. At the moment of life or death, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang knew that he was facing a lethal crisis and had to make a choice. Otherwise, he would really fall. The medium Kiliakosm Sovereigns were just very difficult to kill, not impossible to kill. Explode! Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang roared furiously. He could not resist the Basta spear. No matter how much Kiliakosm origin he had, it was useless. However, he could choose to self-destruct most of his medium kiliacosm. This was also a difficult choice. Self-destruction of the medium kiliacosm might lead to serious consequences, and the medium kiliacosm might even collapse. However, at this moment, Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia no longer had a choice. This was his only solution. Boom! As Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia roared, his medium kiliacosm began to explode. The huge medium kiliacosm instantly began to collapse in an irreversible manner. However, it was the explosion and collapse of the medium kiliacosm that almost drowned out the bastosphere, preventing it from tearing the medium kiliacosm into pieces. In the next moment, Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia stepped out and disappeared without a trace. Damn it, we still failed to kill this advanced Voidwalker. He escaped in the end. No, he can't escape. Or rather, he's dead for certain. A strike from the Holy Relic has completely destroyed his core power. Moreover, he self-destructed. No one can save him. We only used the Holy Relic once, and it already consumed a large amount of power in the Holy Relic. How many more times can the Holy Relic be mobilized? This is the foundation of our Basta divine clan. The two Basta realm rulers were not very happy. Every time the Holy Relic was used, its lifespan would be reduced. It was left behind by the ancestors of the Basta divine clan. Currently, the number of times they could still use the Holy Relic could be counted on one hand. They would not use it again unless absolutely necessary. However, they had no choice now. If they wanted to occupy the medium kiliacosm, they had to defeat the 3 Voidwalkers of the medium kiliacosm first. Fortunately, this time they took a Voidwalker by surprise and dealt with him first. Even if the remaining 2 Voidwalkers were on guard, it would not be a problem for them to deal with 2 Voidwalkers if they used the Holy Relic. Let's go. It's time to go to the medium kiliacosm. Hence, the 2 Basta realm rulers immediately gathered the remaining Basta divine clan members and approached the medium kiliacosm again. Boom! In the medium kiliacosm, a terrifying aura of destruction filled the entire medium kiliacosm. The power of this aura of destruction was simply terrifying. Even the 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns could not help but become alert and look in a certain direction. Even the 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns felt powerless against that aura of destruction. What's going on? How can there be such a terrifying aura of destruction? I think it came from the palace of Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree? Some 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns were shocked. They knew very well that the 3 medium Kiliacosm Sovereigns were the true rulers of the current medium Kiliacosm Sovereign. If anything happened to the 3 medium Kiliacosm Sovereigns, they would be in big trouble. Hence, many 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns took the initiative to go and take a look. Lin Feng was also among these 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns. Lin Feng's expression was solemn. By the time he arrived, many 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns had already arrived as well. They were outside the palace of the Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. This was the residence of the Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. Without Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree's approval, no one else was allowed to enter. Not even if they were 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns. All of you, come in. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from the palace. It was the voice of Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. Everyone was overjoyed, and they immediately stepped into the palace. In the hall, many 8 Cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns saw the Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree, as well as Kiliacosm Sovereign Heart Illusion and Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia. Finally, everyone's gaze was focused on Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia. At this moment, Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia's body emanated the aura of death. He could no longer even control his aura. His medium Kiliacosm was collapsing at every moment. Despite the help of Kiliacosm Sovereign Mythical Tree and Kiliacosm Heart Illusion, they could not stop the collapse of the medium Kiliacosm. How did Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia suffer such severe injuries? Who else can injure Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia to such a degree? This is the aura of death. Could Kiliacosm Sovereign Xianxia be about to fall? Impossible, absolutely impossible. The medium Kiliakosm sovereigns are great and powerful, undying and indestructible. How can he possibly fall? Seeing the state that Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia was reduced to, many 8 cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns were in disbelief. They did not even believe that Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia would fall. Felt like something absurd. Ever since they were born, the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns had been invincible, eternal, and immortal entities. At least in the eyes of many Kiliakosm sovereigns, it was impossible for the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns to fall. However, in reality, even medium Kiliakosm sovereigns could fall. Lin Feng knew very well that the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns were only voidwalkers. In fact, they were not powerful voidwalkers but only advanced voidwalkers. In the depths of the vast void, forget about advanced voidwalkers, even peak voidwalkers might fall one day. However, it was clearly unusual for Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia to be so severely injured. Your Majesties, who injured Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia to this degree? Could it be other void lifeforms? Lin Feng asked in a low voice. He thought of the void lifeforms immediately. If it were not powerful void lifeforms, who could have severely injured Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia? Kiliakosm sovereign mythical tree glanced at Lin Feng, and his tone was chilly. It was the Basta divine clan who ambushed Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia, forcing him to self-destruct his medium Kiliakosm and escape. Unfortunately, his injuries are too severe. Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia's medium Kiliakosm has already collapsed, and the process is irreversible. As soon as Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree finished speaking, the entire hall fell silent. That group of void lifeforms called the Basta divine clan actually had not left yet. Instead, they were still targeting the medium Kiliakosm. They even ambushed Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia and severely injured him. Once the Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia fell, there would only be 2 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns left. Without a doubt, the void lifeforms of the Basta divine clan would have the absolute upper hand. The entire medium Kiliakosm was about to face the greatest threat. Is there really no other way to save Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia? Lin Feng asked. No. The collapse of Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia's medium Kiliakosm is already irreversible. Kiliakosm sovereign mythical tree was also very saddened. His face was very pale, but there was nothing he could do. For a moment, everyone looked at Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia. They knew very well how much impact the death of Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia would have on the medium Kiliakosm. Perhaps I can give it a try. Suddenly, Lin Feng lifted his head and looked at Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia. His gaze became incomparably determined. Swoosh! In an instant, almost everyone's eyes focused on Lin Feng. Chaos Kiliakosm sovereign, do you have a way to save Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia? A trace of incredulous confusion appeared on the Kiliakosm sovereign mythical tree's face. Although he thought very highly of Lin Feng, he only treated Lin Feng as a candidate for the medium Kiliakosm sovereign. But now, how could Lin Feng save the severely injured Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia? Kiliakosm sovereign mythical tree was not the only one who was confused. Everyone probably felt the same. All of them looked at Lin Feng, wondering what method Lin Feng could use to save Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia. I can only say that I'll give it a try. Lin Feng did not say anything else. Instead, he walked straight towards Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia. He knew very well that currently Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia was in imminent danger. However, it was impossible for Lin Feng to be absolutely confident. Lin Feng could only try his best. Lin Feng came in front of Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia. Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia glanced at Lin Feng and said with a smile, "Go ahead and do what you can. Whether you succeed or not, it's my fate." Lin Feng nodded. Kiliakosm sovereign Xianxia was relieving the pressure on him. After all, if Lin Feng failed and was implicated by Kiliakosm sovereign Xuansheng's death, that would not be no small matter. Chaos Kiliakosm sovereign, what do you need to prepare? Kiliakosm sovereign mythical tree also asked. There's no need to prepare. The situation is urgent. If I'm not wrong, the Basta divine clan is probably already rushing towards the medium Kiliakosm. Therefore, we have to hurry. Lin Feng's words made everyone's hearts clench. Indeed, hadn't the Basta Divine clan launched a sneak attack on Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang to deal with him first, so that they could better occupy the medium Kiliakosm? Now was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the Basta Divine clan. Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang, don't resist. Place your absolute trust in me, Lin Feng assured Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang. At this point, Lin Feng only had one solution, and that was the principle of spacetime. He wanted to reverse spacetime and stabilize Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang's injuries. He was not going to completely reverse it until Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang was as good as new. Lin Feng would not be able to withstand that burden at all. However, if he just reversed spacetime a little and stopped Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm from collapsing, at least Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang would not fall. He would slowly recover in the future. Lin Feng felt that there was still some hope. River of spacetime, Lin Feng shouted in a low voice. Immediately, a huge river stretched across the void. At the same time, the river of spacetime enveloped Lin Feng and Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang. When the river of spacetime enveloped the medium Kiliakosm of Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang, Lin Feng's heart sank. Even his small Kiliakosm felt as if it was about to shatter at this moment. The burden was simply too great. No matter how much danger Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang was in, he was still a medium Kiliakosm sovereign. If Lin Feng wanted to use the river of spacetime to reverse spacetime, the burden would be immeasurable. However, Lin Feng also had a countermeasure. He had prepared a large amount of small Kiliakosm origin. Moreover, he only needed to stabilize Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm so that it would not collapse. In the current situation, they really could not do without Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang. Helping Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang was tantamount to helping the entire medium Kiliakosm, as well as Lin Feng himself. Reverse spacetime, Lin Feng shouted. Immediately, he mobilized the principle of spacetime in the river of spacetime and began to reverse spacetime. Buzz, buzz. Lin Feng's minor Kiliakosm shook violently. A large amount of small Kiliakosm origin was consumed in a frenzy. From 10,000 portions, 100,000 portions, 200,000 portions. Lin Feng had never expected that such a large amount of small Kiliakosm origin would be consumed in just a short period of time. It was already a miracle that his small Kiliakosm had not collapsed. Everyone was staring at Lin Feng. They also roughly understood Lin Feng's solution. Could reversing spacetime work? Even the 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns did not know much about the principle of spacetime. Even medium Kiliakosm sovereigns did not know much about the principle of spacetime. Now, they could see Lin Feng use the river of spacetime to begin reversing spacetime with their own eyes. It was also a rare opportunity. They might actually be able to comprehend something. No matter how minute the probability was, there was a certain chance. Hence, even the remaining 2 medium Kiliakosm sovereigns stared intently at Lin Feng. Crack. Lin Feng's spacetime reversal had finally reversed spacetime successfully. In that moment, time in the depths of Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang seemed like rolling gears that jammed all of a sudden and began to rewind at once. Even a slight reversal felt incomparably miraculous to Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang. At the very least, the collapse of his medium Kiliakosm had already stopped. That irreversible collapse had also been completely reversed. So this is the principle of spacetime? It's indeed miraculous. The principle of spacetime is the pinnacle of all principles. The end point of cultivation is to transcend spacetime. However, it is incredibly difficult to comprehend the principle of spacetime. He succeeded. I didn't expect the Chaos Kiliakosm sovereign to really be able to reverse the spacetime of a medium Kiliakosm sovereign. It's really incredible. But this also saved Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang. At least, Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm isn't collapsing anymore. As long as it did not collapse, no matter how great the damage, it can slowly recover in the future. Seeing that Lin Feng had finally succeeded in reversing Kiliakosm's sovereign Xuanshang's spacetime in one go, everyone smiled in relief. Retrieve. Lin Feng had reversed spacetime in an instant. As long as he stopped the collapse of Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm, he would have succeeded in saving him. In reality, that was indeed the case. When Lin Feng reversed spacetime, the collapse of Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's medium Kiliakosm completely stopped. Although he was still severely injured, at least he could slowly recover in the future, and would not fall. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang opened his eyes. He took a deep breath, and said solemnly to Lin Feng, "Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, I owe you a karmic debt." With this sentence, even the other two medium Kiliakosm sovereigns could not do anything to Lin Feng in the future. Lin Feng had saved Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang. The favor of saving his life was greater than anything, as long as Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang is fine. Lin Feng's face was pale. His condition was actually all right. He had just consumed a bit too much small Kiliakosm origin. However, Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang would definitely replenish Lin Feng's consumption. To a medium Kiliakosm sovereign, expending some small Kiliakosm origin was nothing. "Xuanshang, what exactly happened? How did you get so severely injured?" The situation was urgent just now, so Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree did not ask. Now that Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang's injuries had been alleviated, he naturally had to ask. Previously, that group of Basta Divine Clan members were only on par with the three great medium Kiliakosm sovereigns, including Kiliakosm Sovereign Mythical Tree. How did the two of them almost kill Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang when they joined forces? There must be something fishy about this. It's a treasure. Those Basta rulers called it the Holy Relic of the Divine Clan. Holy Relic of the Divine Clan? That's right, the Holy Relic of the Divine Clan. They wanted to get rid of me first, before joining forces to deal with you. As soon as he finished speaking, the expression of Kiliakosm's Sovereign Mythical Tree changed abruptly. He looked up at the void. "They're already here." "Oh? What? They're already here." Including Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang, all the Kiliakosm sovereigns were shocked. They did not expect those void lifeforms to arrive so quickly. It seemed like they had really come prepared. You have to be careful of the holy relic of those void lifeforms. You absolutely have to be careful. Kiliakosm Sovereign Xuanshang reminded in a low voice again. This time, although his medium Kiliakosm had been stabilized and stopped collapsing, it was impossible for him to recover in a short period of time. Hence, he did not have much combat power at all, and could not participate in this battle. In a sense, the scheme of the Basta Divine Clan had already succeeded. They had successfully reduced the combat power in the medium Kiliakosm by one advanced Voidwalker. Kiliakosm's Sovereign Mythical Tree said in a low voice, "Let's go. We have to hold off that group of void lifeforms no matter what. All 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereigns, go to the void to face the enemy together." As Kiliakosm's Sovereign Mythical Tree gave the order, almost all the 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereigns received the message. Hence, they quickly flew towards the void. Soon, many 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereigns appeared in the void on standby. When they saw Kiliakosm's Sovereign Mythical Tree and the others arrive, their expressions were also very solemn. In front of them, the Basta Divine Clan had already arrived. The 2 rulers of the Basta Divine Clan only saw Kiliakosm's Sovereign Mythical Tree and Kiliakosm's Sovereign Heart Illusion. When Kiliakosm's Sovereign Xuanshang did not appear, a smile appeared on their faces. "Haha! Looks like they're indeed missing an advanced Voidwalker. The plan has succeeded. The next step is to completely deal with these 2 advanced Voidwalkers. As long as we deal with them, the medium Kiliakosm will be ours for sure." "That's right. Our Basta Divine Clan has been wandering for a long time. We've finally found a medium Kiliakosm this time. We can't give up no matter what." The Basta Divine Clan was also in high spirits. Clearly, they had also discovered some clues. That life form with a top-notch supreme treasure poses a huge threat to our Basta Divine Clan as well. It shouldn't be a problem for you to hold off 2 advanced Voidwalkers, right? No problem. Go and deal with this life form with a top-notch supreme treasure. After dealing with him, we'll work together to deal with these 2 advanced Voidwalkers. The 2 of them quickly made a decision. They had not forgotten Lin Feng, and even had a deep impression of him. Back then, there were hundreds of ordinary divine clan members, but now, only a few dozen were left. This was all because Lin Feng had used his top-notch supreme treasure to kill so many members of the divine clan. They naturally could not let what happened back then repeat itself. Kill! Without any hesitation, the two Basta realm rulers actually separated. One of the rulers held back Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree and Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion, while the other ruler actually headed straight for Lin Feng. This is bad. His target is the Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign. Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree was shocked. He naturally knew Lin Feng's importance. As long as they killed all the ordinary members of the Basta divine clan, even if there were still the two Basta realm rulers, what could they do? If even the clan was gone, what was the use of occupying a medium Kiliakosm? Perhaps the Basta realm rulers were still hiding some of the Basta divine clan elsewhere. However, at the very least, killing all these ordinary members of the Basta divine clan would allow everyone to join the siege of Basta realm rulers. It was undoubtedly advantageous. But now, the Basta realm rulers actually wanted to deal with Lin Feng first. Then they would be in big trouble. Not only did Lin Feng possess a top-notch supreme treasure and was powerful, he was also a candidate for medium Kiliakosm sovereign. They could not afford to lose him. In the next moment, Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree went all out. Boom! Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree's body shook, and he quickly transformed into an indomitable and extremely huge tree. This huge tree blotted out the entire void. Everyone seemed to be cast in the shadow of the giant tree. Wherever the giant tree covered, even the void was vaguely confined. This was when Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree was at his strongest. This was also his true form. Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree was originally an ancient tree in the medium Kiliakosm. He succeeded in cultivation in the medium Kiliakosm, and eventually even became the first medium Kiliakosm sovereign. Even Kiliakosm's sovereign Xianxia and Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion rarely saw Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree use his true form. Only in life-or-death situations would Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree use his true form. Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree, having manifested his true form, was indeed several times stronger. Get lost! Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree shouted furiously. His branches covered the void. Even though the other Basta realm ruler tried to deal with Lin Feng, he was forcefully repelled by Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree's thick branches. Moreover, these were not ordinary branches, but branches carrying the power of the medium Kiliakosm. In fact, the power of the medium Kiliakosm was gathered in every leaf and every branch of the giant tree. Haha, you still want to attack the 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns? How shameless. Since Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree has already gone all out, I'll go all out too. Watch my illusory world. Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion attacked. This time, he used the heart illusion world almost without holding back. Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion was called heart illusion. Actually, mental power was his strongest power. When he used the core power of his medium Kiliakosm, it was the power of the mind and his strongest power. This power was actually very dangerous. The mental power could pull enemies in and keep them trapped, or even doomed. However, if the enemy's mental power was very strong, Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion would suffer a backlash and be severely injured. His outcome would not be much better than Kiliakosm's sovereign Xianxia's. Hence, unless absolutely necessary, Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion would not use the illusion world. However, at this moment, Kiliakosm's sovereign Xianxia was severely injured and could not fight. Kiliakosm's sovereign mythical tree had also revealed his true form and was already prepared to risk his life. If Kiliakosm's sovereign heart illusion continued to hold back, things would really be troublesome. Seeing the two medium Kiliakosm sovereigns counterattack in a desperate situation, almost erupting with unprecedented power, the remaining 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns were all incomparably motivated. They charged towards the Basta divine clan in a frenzy. This time, the 8 Cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns had the upper hand in numbers. Moreover, Lin Feng was attacking in anger. Without any hesitation, he used the space-time prison directly. As they were swept into his space-time prison one by one, Lin Feng killed them immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4. As Lin Feng killed more and more Basta Divine clan members, his space-time prison also became stronger and stronger. Never before had Lin Feng wanted to increase his strength rapidly. Facing a Basta realm ruler just now, even Lin Feng felt the threat of death. Damn it! All of you deserve to die. The Basta realm ruler flew into a rage. He did not expect the two ordinary medium Kiliakosm sovereigns in his eyes to actually unleash such terrifying power. They were completely risking their lives. Holy relic, please show your prowess. At this moment, the Basta realm ruler no longer hesitated. He immediately used the holy relic of the Basta divine clan,